Today we're going to work out the Hollow Knight Silksong release window using maths. Now, we've all had a few days to cool down after the update on the 1st of April, and if you missed my last video, I'll recap it quickly for you. Team Cherry decided April Fool's Day was the perfect opportunity to launch the Silksong listing on the Xbox Store, not to be confused with the entry for the game under the xbox.com/games URL, which has existed since around the time Xbox confirmed it was coming day one to Game Pass. Honestly, I'd be more annoyed if I didn't respect the pursuit of chaos, and if I hadn't quite literally predicted something happening a few weeks prior. I believe the news first came to light from a tweet posted by Nick Zucklich, a senior content planning manager for Xbox. It was then later confirmed by Matthew Griffin, aka Leth, as the real deal. And it didn't stop there. The relevant regional store pages also confirmed that the game now has an ESRB rating of everyone 10+, a PEGI rating of 7, a GRAC rating of 12, and so forth. The new store pages let you finally wishlist the game, and they've included Xbox One as a supported console, which the games page did not. At the time of writing this script, the games page had still not been updated with the rating or the additional console. I won't go into too much detail about all the different rating systems, as there's many videos on YouTube that cover them better than I ever could, but in short, ESRB stands for the Entertainment Software Rating Board, which is a self-regulatory organization that assigns age and content ratings to consumer video games in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. PEGI, which stands for Pan-European Game Information, is a European video game content rating system. GRAC is the Game Rating and Administration Committee, which is the South Korean Video Game Rating Board. There are, of course, many more regional rating systems across the globe, but all of which have been established to help consumers make informed decisions when buying games through the use of age recommendations and content descriptors. They typically base their ratings on a number of factors like violence, language, sexual content, and the presence of substances like drugs and alcohol. A number of people online have questioned whether the Nintendo eShop page existed before this date, but I can confirm from personal experience that it did. And by that I mean that I literally have multiple videos featuring clips of the listing. Back on topic, the question that most fans had was, why does this matter? And that's a great question. I wanted to know whether the confirmed ratings could indicate a potential release window for the game, and what that release window could be. So I started looking into when other popular games had announced their ESRB ratings versus their release date, and how many days had elapsed between those. And about 15 minutes into my research, I found out that I'm not the only one who had this idea. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was being real smart and unique with this, but apparently we all had the same thought. Well and truly, clowns of the same circus. The most brief and basic search would lead you to this image that was posted on the Elden Ring subreddit, cross-shared to the Silksong subreddit, offering information pertaining to 10 games, which was actually inaccurate in multiple places and not nearly enough to draw any meaningful conclusion. I wanted to take it further. I needed more games. So I trawled countless subreddits, social media posts, past news articles, and wherever else I could to create a list of 76 games when their ESRB rating was publicised and their final release date. 76 is still not a huge amount of data to work off, but it certainly beats 10, and it was actually surprisingly difficult to find those. I wanted to emphasise the publicised part, as we still don't know whether Team Cherry had been sitting on these ratings for a long time, apart from the Korean GRAC rating, which apparently was posted on the 20th of February. Wario64, who's been pretty reliable in the past with regards to gaming news, posted this screenshot on Twitter, but the link no longer pulls up any entries for Silksong. We've got everything from Helldivers 2 to Rise of the Ronin to Just Dance 2024. There's remakes, remasters, DLCs, sequels, standalone games, and even Hollow Knight. I initially wanted to focus on games similar to Silksong, but that information is just not easily available for the majority of those. One of the Reddit posts did feature Hades, Among Us, Celeste, and Cuphead, but I honestly have no idea where they got that information from. So let's start with Hollow Knight, which publicised its ESRB rating on the 9th of February 2017, and released 15 days later on the 24th. Excellent news, can you believe it? We are getting Silksong on the 16th of April, we can wrap it up here. I mean, that'd be fantastic, but I doubt that's the case. If they were following the exact same timeline, we'd have had a release date announcement trailer on the 2nd, and it's now past the 2nd, so sorry to burst that bubble. Before we move on to the rest of the list, I did want to highlight two outliers that I recorded but would rather omit from this point forward. Forspoken had a long gap of 350 days between its ERSB rating being being announced to release date, and we know that game still somehow released with all sorts of bugs and not the good kind, and optimization issues. And Skull and Bones, which had a whopping 598-day gap. I'm not even sure how many times that release date was pushed before it finally made it, but it was a lot. There's a few ways to figure out the average of a dataset, so I've gone for the basics: mean, median, and mode. Fortunately, they're all within the space of 1 week, so if Silksong were to release in line with the average of all of these games, it'd be expected between the 15th and 22nd of June. But that's not exactly a safe bet at all. There's a pretty drastic difference in elapsed days across the list, with Dark and Darker releasing in 2 days and Cyberpunk 2077 in 218. A safer option would be to just go with a window of April 3rd to November 5th. Given it's been confirmed that the release window shared by Xbox was the accurate window at some point during the development cycle, I can't imagine it's that far from completion that it will be rivaling Skull and Bones. No, my appetite for risk is comfortable with a conservative guess that it will be somewhere between the 25th and 75th percentile of the dataset, which equates to between 49 and 107 days, or May 20th to July 17th. That's the window I'm going with. More specifically, I think it would be really funny if they actually released the game on the 11th of June, so it's still before the 12th of June, just a different year to what everyone expected. While I still believe the next big announcement, like a release date and or trailer, will come directly from Team Cherry, Summer Games Fest does begin on the 7th of June. If you think this is copium, that's fine, but do be mindful that, excluding the 2 outliers that I pointed out earlier, if Silksong were to take even as long as Cyberpunk 2077's 218 days, it would still support a 2024 release date. I honestly can't wait to hear more about what went down during development, because I can't help but wonder whether the rating news was Xbox jumping the gun again, or if it was legitimately a fun April Fool's planned announcement. The official Team Cherry Twitter are yet to acknowledge any of this. There doesn't seem to be any updates to their website or the Silksong website. No ratings have been added to the store pages on Steam, PlayStation, and the Nintendo eShop. Actually, it doesn't look like they've updated the Steam listing since 2019, so maybe it's time to get on that, Team Cherry. The ESRB database also doesn't have a public entry for Silksong, neither does Peggy, and given the removal of the GRAC listing, they've probably all been asked to hold back for now. And I mean, you can do the maths to figure out an earlier release window from February if you'd prefer. I'm trying not to get anyone's hopes up. If anyone wants a copy of the list, let me know, I can send it to you. Before anyone comes for me for the primary school level calculations, I said maths, I didn't say complex maths. I've only got 3 brain cells bouncing around in there, and one of them is just playing the Poke Dance song on a loop. Sorry, I realized after I filmed this that I don't actually want to include the song just because, you know how ruthless the Pokemon Company can be with those copyright strikes. So, to conclude, Silksong will definitely be releasing this year on the 11th of June. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.